Hello and welcome back. This is it, the final installment in our 8-part mini-series on the Liquid Information Framework. We've been deep in the weeds, but today we're zooming all the way out. Yep, we're looking at the big picture, the rhythm of civilizations, why they rise and fall, and what this incredible accelerating force of artificial intelligence could mean for all of us. Okay, let's get right into it.
So here's the massive question, right? Is there a pattern to history? Well, the framework we've been talking about says yes, absolutely. But it's not just random chance. The core idea is that these cycles are driven by something the source material calls informational coherence.
To really get a handle on where we might be heading, we first have to look back. So let's start there. Let's explore what ingredients come together to make a civilization hit its absolute peak. Okay, informational coherence. What does that even mean? Well, think of it like a moment when everything just clicks into place. It's when a society's flow of information, its sense of unity, and its actual physical capabilities all sync up perfectly. And when that happens, you get this massive boost in collective brain power, a surge in what the framework calls our cognitive bandwidth.
And you see this pattern in all the great civilizational highs. The European Renaissance, the Islamic Golden Age. These weren't just lucky accidents. The source argues they all shared these fundamental traits: super efficient ways to share knowledge, a powerful story that everyone believed in, game-changing new technologies, and crucially, enough stability that people had the mental space, this cognitive surplus, to actually innovate and create.
Now, I know this idea of coherence can feel a little out there, a little abstract. So the framework gives us this really powerful analogy to ground it in something we all know, the stock market. And this just makes so much sense, doesn't it? A bull market with all that optimism and energy, that's a civilization at its peak, creative, unified, moving forward. And a bear market is just the opposite. It mirrors a society in decline, fragmented, distrustful, where things start to fall apart. And bubbles? Well, that's what happens when a society gets way too confident in one single idea. It just goes to show you, sentiment and stories don't just drive markets, they drive history.
All right, so that brings us to the inevitable question. Where are we in this cycle? Right now? What does this framework say about our world today, especially in the age of social media?
If you look back, achieving that high coherence state, those golden ages, it always required one thing above all else: massive collective focus, a shared attention. And let's be honest, that has become an incredibly rare commodity in our world.
Think about our modern technologies. They often work directly against that kind of deep focus. The source points out that the constant pings and notifications shatter our attention, the algorithms can push us further apart, and our single shared story splinters into millions of tiny micro-realities. The whole system is built to keep us engaged, not to build the kind of deep coherence that lets a civilization thrive. The framework has a name for this: down-frequency fragmentation.
But, and this is a huge but, this is where the story takes a wild turn, because a new, incredibly powerful variable is now in play. Something that might just rewrite all the rules of the game: artificial intelligence.
So what if AI could do the exact opposite of what we just described? What if, instead of fragmenting us, it could pull us together? The source suggests AI could be a kind of frequency elevator. It could boost our collective brain power, help stabilize information on a global scale, act as a filter for noise and misinformation, and just radically accelerate the pace of innovation. It could be the very tool that helps us achieve and maintain a state of high coherence for longer than any civilization in history.
And if that's possible, well, that leads us to a pretty mind-bending but profound vision for what the next chapter of human history might look like.
See, every single civilizational high, every golden age, every renaissance we've ever had was built on this, on biological, human thought. That was the engine.
But now, for the first time ever, we're adding this entirely new, powerful layer of artificial cognition into the equation.
And we're linking it all, the human and the artificial, together through planet-spanning networks. We are building an entirely new kind of thinking machine. This fusion of human minds, AI, and global networks, it could trigger what the source calls a super-coherent phase. We're talking about a kind of planetary scale cognition that would just dwarf anything we've ever seen before. The idea isn't just that AI helps us do old things better, it's that it fundamentally reshapes what's even possible for us to think and achieve as a species.
And that leaves us with the final, pretty provocative question for this whole series. If this model is right, if AI really can act as a frequency elevator, then are we, right now, in the process of consciously programming our own next, and maybe our greatest renaissance? The full framework, experiments, and extensions are detailed in the paper linked below.